Hi everyone. I'm going to do a little tutorial here on the intro to the song The Wait, done by the band, and it's been covered by just about anybody you can think of has covered this song. We're going to play it. It's got some really neat vocal things going on in the chorus, and got a nice little arrangement for it, but it has an intro that starts the song. It's the only time the intro is played. And it just so happens that the baritones can play this very, very well. It's laid out extremely well to play. We're playing this in the key of G. Only 3 chords, G, B minor, and C. That's it. That's all the chords used in the song. 3 chords, a G, B minor, and a C. So let's get started. Now the interesting thing about this riff is that it uses all kinds of stuff. You're going to have single notes you're playing, you're going to have double notes, it's got slides, it's got hammer-ons, we're plucking things, so it's just got a whole bunch of stuff going on within the riff. Now before we get started, let me play the riff so you can see what we're talking about here. Here's the riff right here. Just like that, okay? One more time. All right. Now, let's break this down. So what we're going to do, first of all, I'm going to be playing with my fingers. You can play with the pick, and I'll touch base on that as we go along. If you're playing with your fingers, I'm going to do something we like to do when we're playing with our fingers, and that's let's assign a finger to a string. So I'm going to assign my thumb to my 3rd string. I'm going to assign my index to the 2nd, and I'm going to assign my middle finger here to the 1st, all right? Now to get started, if you look at the tab can be a little complicated to read. There's a lot of stuff going on there, so it may be easier to hear it, but here's what's going on. It starts off on the 3rd string, 3rd fret, 2nd finger, and there's a slide. And I would practice that if you're not used to doing slides. You hit the note and then you slide. You don't hit it again, you just slide. Just like that, okay? Now once you do that, notice your index finger is already sitting down here on the 2nd string. Like that. Now notice my index finger is on the 2nd string, so my thumb's playing this string, the 3rd, index finger. Now we do our first hammer-on. And if you've never played a hammer-on, practice that. You've got your index finger, 2nd string, 3rd fret. Your ring finger is going to do a hammer-on. Now what a hammer-on is, it kind of signifies exactly what's going on. It's like if you had a nail under here and you're going to use this finger to drive that nail. Now you don't have to do it super hard, but there is some pressure on it because what you're doing is pushing the string down, giving it a little more energy to keep playing, and as it frets out here, it changes the pitch from here. So you do have to hit it, and that's again why I think they call it a hammer-on. It's just like hammering, like that, okay? So we have our slide, hammer-on. Now to play this, you've done your hammer-on. My index finger, you'll notice, is covering the 1st and 2nd string at this point. The minute I do the hammer-on, I've already gone down and covered that 1st and 2nd string. Now that's a classic riff you hear all the time. Okay, so this is something that's been used a lot, hammer-on, and the string underneath. So here's our first part of the single run. Slide, hammer-on. We've got both notes covered there, okay? Now that's just using single notes. Now it switches over what I'm going to call the 2nd part, and we're going to use double notes. Now to do this, we've assigned our fingers down here, thumb, index, and middle. I'm going to make a change on this. You could play this, you can play it like this, using your index and second finger on the first and second string, but I like using my thumb. Anytime I'm playing two notes, I like to have the thumb and index. So my thumb is going to move down to the second, index right here on the first. Okay, and what that is, that's a hammer-on, just like you did before, except now we're playing two notes. Index finger has those notes covered. Like that, okay? So now you have your slide, first hammer on. Now I move my picking hand down. Okay, I would practice these two parts together. Okay, now the next part, your index finger has been covering two strings, first string and second. It wants to be on that second string, third fret, right where it is. So it's more a matter of releasing out to get your middle finger, your middle finger up here on the third string, fourth fret. And now what we're going to do, we're going to play that, and now my thumb and index have gone from here up to here. So I'm moving around like this. Again, you could play it stationary, but anytime I'm playing double notes, I like using the thumb. There's something about the rhythm and just the keeping things together. My thumb is my strong finger. So after I do this little, they move, second finger drops in here, so now I have index, second, you pluck the strings and do a slide. Like that, down to first and second fret. So I'm only hitting once, plucking. Then the next is an open pluck. Okay. And I would practice that. Now when you've got that, you've got the whole run. And then the last part is just the chord. And I'm using my thumb up on the fourth string, index on the third, middle finger on the second, ring finger on the first. I'm plucking all four strings because I have control and there's a really good attack on that. That's a C chord. And I can control it, I can stop it. Just like that, okay? Now, if you're playing a pick, you can play it. There's two ways to do it. If you're only going to use the pick, you play it like this. Okay? Now, I'm using a down-up motion. I try to stay away from doing any kind of like just always down beats. I try to let my wrists go in rhythm. So it's going 1 and 2 and 1. So my hand's going up and down, up and down. Now for the doubles, you just have, there's two ways to do it. You can use the pick and play two strings like that. So now you have or you can do what's called compound picking. A lot of the country players and players like to do that when they use a pick. They'll take their, you can use all the rest of your fingers, but in this case we only need two. So the pick, which is the thumb and index holding the pick, is going to hit one note. This middle finger is going to hit the other. And you pick the first note, and then you pluck with your middle finger, and you can do it like that. Now you get a, so I'm using thumb and index on the pick, middle finger on that first string. Now you move that just like we do the thumb. Now if you're going to play just with the pick and you want to play this, you have to hit two strings. I let my ring finger slide up underneath this as an anchor under my first string. Also, it allows me, when I play this last slide, I don't have to just hit those two strings. I can go on and play through because I'm automatically muting this first string with my ring. So my ring finger. If you just play the pick, it's going to sound like this. One more time. Okay, like that. Now let's set the metronome up. I've got this at 72. 1 and 2. I'm beating out eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... One more time. 3 and 4 and... Okay, so that's where I would start. I would start at 72. If you need to go a little slower, that's okay. Break this down, unless you can play parts of it already. But if you're kind of learning how to do all this the first time, break it down. Single notes, so you start with just your slide. Make sure you can do a slide. Once you can do that, then you have a hammer on. Then you have that. Make sure that index finger can cover both strings. Once you've got that down, now you're just going to play that same riff again, except you're going to use two strings. Now your index finger is going to kind of remain there, lift up. So break this down in parts. The slide. Once you can do that, get the hammer on. Once you've got that, go to two fingers. Okay. Once you can do that, make this move. And now you've got the whole run, the chord, like that, okay? Enjoy. Again, take it slow, break it down into sections, and again, this is going to sound really neat. As the intro to The Wait. Enjoy.